So in between the week, I'm turning my phone off for almost the whole day because I want to regain my attention span. I want to regain my dopamine, dopamine detox and all that. And so after I came back from the gym this morning, I was getting ready to record some things and I just didn't really feel like doing much. I felt the craving of having something to satisfy my attention. I wanted to be entertained. Now, seeking entertainment isn't actually anything bad, in contrary to what many people say. Oh, you shouldn't. No, it's natural, it's part of our desire, right? It's not a bad thing. The problem is where you get your entertainment from. I'll say very quickly, you can be entertained by just reading. And before you roll your eyes back, let me give you an example. Let's say, I don't know what situation you're in, but let's say that you've had a few relationships, girlfriends, whatever, and you've done the nasty, all of that. Let's go back to when you were more innocent, younger, right? Back then, a little bit was enough to get you super excited. Maybe holding hands, maybe making eye contact, maybe just a little kiss on the cheek. That was a great feat in itself, but now it wouldn't be so much so as fun. Apart from every now and then that you get butterflies and it's very radiant and all that stuff. However, I'm going to prove to you why it compares to attention span and your source of entertainment. You may pick up a book now, and this may not apply to you, right? You may have a blast reading, but you may not read at all because you find it boring and yada yada. Okay, you read like 1 page, 2 pages, and you say, okay, I've had enough, I'm going to do something else. And it probably took you, if you're like an average new reader, like 5-6 minutes to read those 2 pages. Now you spend 5-6 minutes watching a video or playing a video game, and they go by like that. But if you've ever tried something like a dopamine detox of some sort, you realize that when you went back to doing the thing that you used to do after your regime was over, it was a lot more intense than it was for you when you took a break. Whenever you hear a snapping of the fingers, make sure that you fix your posture and you take deep breaths into your diaphragm from your nose. Enjoy the video. So for me, I do this continuously, right? I go into things and then take breaks, whatever. I took a break from videos in general, I think for like maybe a month, and so I didn't watch anything. I'm talking zero. So when I went back into it, and the whole time I was doing things, right? I wasn't just sitting looking at the scene. And when I went back into it, one video that was 5-6 minutes, I was watching it, and it wasn't that I was anxious to do something else and that I had a lot of attention, but it felt like I watched the video, I was halfway through and I was like, oh my god, I'm spending so much time here, sat down looking at this thing. Only like 3-4 minutes had lapsed. But those 3-4 minutes, I was now not trained to sit through. Felt like a long time. 3-4 minutes, you can maybe prepare your clothes for tomorrow, maybe open your book and get everything ready to study and do the dishes. Well, maybe not that. When I was doing this, it was actually the month of Ramadan. I'm Muslim and I practice that. And I set myself up some goals to read like 8 books, something like that. And I did. I think maybe a little more. But it wasn't just reading, it was reading and annotating, which if you've ever done that, it takes double the time. Because you read it once and you're like, okay, I want to underline this. And you underline that. All of these books here, oh no, apart from 2, are all marked, are all with things that are, and some books that are holding the camera up. And then on Audible also, I've listened to some things, made Word documents, which I could share with you. If you have me on Discord, I'll send that to you. And within a month, I found it so entertaining to read because I had set myself some limits and I couldn't do anything else and I had accepted it. This is something a little bit difficult, just as a disclaimer. It's not like I'm gonna stop watching videos and then you stop. Usually it takes more than that, but you may be able to do it. But anyway, because I've trained myself with a lot of different challenges, I can do that. So anyway, as I didn't have many other things to do apart from reading and training, whenever I had the opportunity to read, or I was doing a task and I wanted to finish it, I looked forward to reading. Now, it's not like I love reading or I'm a big fan of reading, but I looked forward to it. And today, before I started recording, I grabbed a book and I went to the park. I looked in the mirror, right, because I was getting ready to record and stuff, and I thought, damn, I'm pale. I walk to the gym and I come back and I get some sunlight. But is that really enough? And I thought I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I will read, reread some of the things that I've underlined and all that stuff. And it was actually incredible what I underlined. I was like, wow, this is really insightful. So I'm grateful that I did that. And I got some sunlight. and I did something that I enjoyed, something healthy. Now, a lot of us are, struggling with content addiction. A lot of us are struggling with keeping focused, with doing things that we want to do. And a big first step, a big problem in general in society right now is that, the content consumption and all this stuff. Because now there's just so many things everywhere and there's AI left, right, center. So a thing that you could do for yourself is read some books. Start reading, start learning new things, specialize in something. Maybe you could read about something that you want to get into, right? Maybe you like psychology. You could read some psychological books. Maybe some books on like leadership, right? And they don't have to be your normal average books. They could be like weird little books like that. Or even as far as like, reading some JoJo, like that's fine, okay. Read more, because this is like the difficult version of consumption. And because it's more difficult, not only will you do it less often, but it also is not brain dead. Like watching some videos is just brain dead. You put them on and you're like freaking drooling on yourself. I don't know, maybe you're touching your genitals or something at the same time. It's like, dude, get a hold of yourself. Don't you see that you get it together, man? Because above everything and above all the jokes, you know you have something greater waiting for you. And you know that this is not the full extent of what you could do, what you want to do. Even if it's something as silly as reading some JoJo, it will be better reading JoJo than like watching another 10-minute video about just some random bullshit that doesn't educate you, that stimulates your brain to the max. I'm trying to cut down after some feedback on the amount of music that I use, the amount of explosives, all of that stuff, because I don't want to fry your brain. And if it gets me less views, fine. I mean, what's my intention here? To make a change, to do something better, to help others, not to, I'm trying to rub my hands there greedily. No, I don't care. I want the better for others. I think in giving we receive. So if I can give to others something good knowledge, good habits, good traits, then I'll be getting plenty. If not in this life, in the next one, because I'm a believer. So just to conclude, maybe if you want some recommendations, I'm gonna pull up 3 books that you can get started with, and maybe you could go from there and do your own thing. The very beginner, very common, very whatever, Atomic Habits. This is a book that's very good actually to take action. A lot of people, myself in the past, I loved to just watch stuff, never take action. They would teach me something like in Charisma and Command, do this to be more charismatic. Oh, cool, never did it. So this book will have things that you will print out, things that you will write down, and you don't need to reread it as per se. Once you've extracted everything, you can just chuck it away or give it to someone else. Now, 2 books that you will have to reread for 2 different reasons. First one, this one, How to Win Friends and Influence People. A great book to make yourself not just a person that's more loving. Some people use it for manipulation, but don't. In the book itself, it says, and I like it, that all of these things should come from an honest place and from an authentic place, not to manipulate, and to aim to do good, to be just, and all of that stuff. So I stand by it. And you reread the book, not forget to practice it and all that stuff, or to practice something new. Now, my favorite book, The Way of the Superior Man. This one's a bit more down the line. I would recommend reading this 3rd out of the bunch, or not, but the point is, this one you will reread, and I'm still rereading, and it's not to like remind yourself of something. Well, it works in that regard too, but the things that it talks about, you start to see it in different colors, in like more in-depth colors. It talks about something, you're like, wow, that makes sense. And then for some reason you reread it, and then a week goes by and you see some things and you reread it, and you're like, oh my god, what is happening? This book is goated. I hope this video helped, and I hope that you take action. Please strive to be 1% better every day, and much love.